Welcome everyone to the Medspa Accelerator Podcast, brought to you by Everable Marketing, the go-to resource so you can get the latest hacks and best practices to market and grow a profitable medical aesthetics practice. My name is Maripili and I am obsessed with all things business, marketing, operations, numbers, and helping you grow and take your Medspa to the next level. This is the Medspa Accelerator Podcast, Season 2.
Welcome everybody to the Medspa Accelerator Podcast. I'm here with Luis today.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How have you been doing?
I think we've been doing good. It's been a little stressful.
How's the dad life?
Dad life has been surprisingly good.
You put a lot of thought into that.
No, it's just I wanted to put like emphasis on the good, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like I was telling a few friends earlier today, it's like it's not perfect, it's not easy, but it's like good, you know? It's like one of those things in life that is just like.
Do you have a shirt that says that, but about life?
Yes, but same. I believe the same thing applies to fatherhood. Yeah.
Parenthood. Yeah.
How's mom life?
Oh, I like it. Yes. I was thinking that it has been hard in the sense that I can't do the same things that I used to do before. I can't like just zone out and like work for hours on end.
I know, yeah.
But I definitely like enjoy being a mom.
For sure.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is a great segue of like, hey, short-term versus long-term strategies. I think this is like a really good topic because I was talking to some of our potential clients and we were talking about how to think of a business as a whole, right? Like what can we do now to make changes into the business, to make some like growth, but sometimes we just emphasize so much on the now that we forget on the later. Mm-hmm. And so what can we do in a business to ensure that we're hitting both continuously so there is always at least some growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure, like when it comes to doing some, like, you know, when you're looking at your business and looking at growth, like you have like your short-term strategies and then your long-term strategies. And then I think even there's even short-term thinking and long-term thinking inside of each one of those that I guess it's kind of like a subset of each almost. So that's essentially what we want to dive into today. So
I think that is huge because definitely we've had those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like in between us, there is always like, you are the fast thinker. You're like, okay, I need to take action now. And this is going to produce results now.
Yeah.
And I'm more on the long-term thinking of like, okay, based on what you want to do, how can we prolong this? How can we make things like steady?
Yeah, Billy's actually really good at that. Like every time she works, like when she's getting a task done, it's like it takes you a lot more time. But it's pretty awesome in the sense that like it's taking her a lot of time, not because she can't do it fast, but because while she's doing it, she's already thinking of ways of how she can remove herself from that process and make it duplicatable for someone else to do it, which is pretty crazy because I'm normally just the one of just like, yeah, I'm just going to get this done. And like, I feel cool because I got it done real fast. But I mean, obviously that's not the point, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that's like one way we can apply that to just, you know, like business and operations in general.
Right.
But even just when it comes to growth and acquisition, patient acquisition, there's just some really interesting tactics and strategies that you can implement to help you get results sooner than later. But at the same time, you should always be taking into consideration what those long-term, you know, strategies could be for sure.
And that's my point. I think like you should be able to kind of have this mindset of like, okay, even if you tend to go one way versus the other, you do have to keep in mind like, okay, what can I do to make things fast or change things right now if that is what your business needs, but also have in mind like, okay, what are some things that might take a little bit more time, but what are those long-term strategies for growth inside your advertising or marketing or in business in general?
For sure.
So if you are one way or another, make sure to get yourself an operations manager then. It's the other way around. It definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure. So
anyways, So yeah, I was having this really good conversation with one of our new clients, and we were trying to think about, okay, what are some things that we can do right now to bring in some revenue? They just got a new machine, and they really wanted to, get some revenue going on it, really get it to work as soon as possible. But at the same time, she definitely wants some consistency. And I feel like all of us do, right? We want to make sure that we're getting new clients consistently, but at the same time, like, how can we make sure that this is as steady as possible? So we ended up like sending out this text message because we wanted to create some packages, and we really wanted to know like what were her people interested in. One. Two, we were going to, whoever responded was going to get one of those for free, and the only thing they needed to do was come in for a consultation. So that gave us opportunity of bringing in people pretty fast for something they were already interested in. One of them was going to get this amazing giveaway. And then for the long-term strategy, we also were able to find out what were her people most interested in based off her services, so we can create packages around it for memberships.
Nice.
So we can include a little bit of both pretty fast.
Yeah, it was kind of like doing some marketing research, but at the same time, you kind of put an offer around it, which was kind of cool because you incentivize them to respond.
Exactly. Yeah. And she got amazing results. Like she got like 200 people to respond right away because everybody wanted this amazing giveaway.
Yeah.
And she had like consultations the next week, like all week.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of outline this, right? Like I think definitely one of the short-term strategies that you could definitely implement in your business if you're looking to grow. And the best part about this one strategy in particular is that it doesn't cost you any ad revenue. Any ad spend, right? And so like what does a PDR stand for? PDR is like an internal name that we kind of give. Yes. So we apologize for the jargon, but essentially it stands for Patient Database Reactivation Campaign. Right. And so what we do is that we'll grab your database, we'll upload it you can upload this into any text messaging or email software that you might have. And you can craft a text, keep it simple, but around an offer. And you can send that out to your database and just be like, hey, X person, hey, Billy, like we have an amazing promotion going on right now of XYZ. Would you like to, we only have a few spots available. Would you like to take advantage of it? And honestly, as simple as that, or, hey, I'm looking for 5 people that are interested in, having a brighter smile. We're running this promotion right now. Would you like to take advantage of it? Or, hey, whatever, right? Whatever it might be.
Whatever the transformation is.
Yeah, whatever you want that transformation to be, right? And so that is a really great way. I mean, we implement that strategy for our clients every single time. And it's really great because, one of the things that you're trying to combat when it comes to your marketing and advertising is that, you want people to know you, like you, and trust you, right? It's one of the things that we say all the time. And the more you have that going for yourself, the easier that sale is, right? Because again, they already know who you are. You have a relationship with them. Right. You already established yourself as an authority. And so a lot of the times, getting your database to potentially come in and buy some more is one of the lowest hanging fruits that you can take advantage of, because those people already have that relationship with you. They already trust you. They already know, they already know that you know them. And so a lot of times they're a lot more just willing to get started on treatment. So yeah, we tell our clients all the time that there's a lot of money on the table, right? Specifically when it comes to a database. And if you have a big database, you could be leveraging that database to increase, increase your lifetime patient value. Right. Which is huge. And a lot of people just have it sitting there and they don't really do anything with it.
Yeah. Because we also have to take into consideration that, of course, this is an ever-growing patient database, right? For sure. As we are creating ads and getting more people to come into the database, they're it starts growing and growing and growing. Mm-hmm. And maybe some people, one of the conversations we also have is whenever there is an advertising campaign going on, those people might not be either financially, emotionally, or physically ready to start treatment right there and then. But we don't know if they will be in a month, in 2 months, 3 months, it might just take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But doing something like this actually helps you get those people that were not ready then, but they might be ready now. And
For
they were
sure.
just might just be waiting for that extra push, which is the offer, right?
Yeah.
Like a great offer is like, oh, I was just thinking about that, and now they're having like $1,000 off or whatever that might be. Like, let me just jump at this.
Yeah. And so, I mean, 100%, because I feel like, it's like you said earlier, right? We're doing these advertising campaigns, we're generating leads, and you have to take into consideration that like there is a buying cycle, right? Like, people don't just always buy right then and there. Obviously they're thinking about things. They are interested, but they're waiting for the right time for them, whatever makes sense financially at that point, so that they can actually like move forward in investment. So, just because somebody didn't get started within the first, week that lead was generated doesn't mean that person isn't interested. They're just waiting for the right time, right? And so the importance of nurturing them is huge, and implementing a text email campaign to help them take action sooner than later is a great way to help them do that. So not just with your current database of patients that you had in the past, but also with new leads that have been generated, whether it's through your website, whether through your marketing or advertising campaign, so on and so forth. So that's definitely like two strategies that you can implement. Like one, kind of, sending out those blasts, right? But then also implementing that nurturing campaign, right? To make sure that people are still being followed up on, et cetera. But then adding those people into those PDR campaigns as well, so that you continue to kind of incentivize them to take action sooner than later. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, and so that in itself is like a short term and a long term at the same time, right? But,
yeah.
So what are some other like short term strategies that?
So I mean, I think the one that we always implement is kind of our offer campaigns, right? So we leverage, social media advertising is a great platform to put your offer in front of the people that are interested, right? And so like those are the kind of campaigns that you can be running that honestly get results like that. Like, like a lot of the times when you put out an offer, that's appealing, and you put it right, if you put it in front of the right people, then those people take action, right? Yeah, obviously you have to construct it a specific way so you get them to take action. But those are your short-term strategies where, like, if you implement that correctly and you have a great offer, I mean, you're looking at like, getting a lot of people that are interested, getting a lot of consultations, and also if you do things right on the sales side, really getting a good amount of people, saying yes to treatment and getting started, which is phenomenal.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that like we obviously can implement for our clients and can get great results. And that's kind of like a short-term thing, because why I even fell in love with that in the first place is because of the fact that like you can get results immediately, almost all the time. And it's life-changing.
Yeah. Remember when we were barely starting with this, and we had this one client, and they were like, so when can we expect some leads coming in? And we're like, oh, just give it like a few days, And they got results like the moment we turned that campaign on. They were like, what? What is this? They were so excited.
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing is, like, this can actually, keep on happening. And so you can see those immediate results, like like leads coming in right away.
Yeah, I mean, like, so it was really great to see those clients get those results. I mean, and even for us, like when we first, like, I tell the story that like I used to do all this kind of marketing and all these sales tactics to try to get clients to like to get them to start with us. So I cold calling, pounding the streets, like I've done all kinds of sales. And when we figured out a way where like we could ultimately get people to come to us versus us having to chase them down, like it changed everything for us. And that's when like we were like, man, if we can implement this for our clients, like it would be a true game changer, because of the fact that like we can like they will know where their next patient is going to come from.
Right.
And it was just like really, really great. And so and typically that's kind of called during direct response advertising. That's kind of like the traditional term that, people kind of call when you are implementing these types of advertising campaigns. And so it's kind of like a mix, because it is like a short-term strategy, but it's something that you can leverage long-term, like, which is great. And so that's your direct response, and that's leveraging social media advertising. Right. You can, I mean, Now, there's still some kind of like long-term strategies that you can implement within that direct response, or I'm sorry, I should say within social media advertising. Okay. Right. Because like there's definitely, I would say that you can kind of split it in between two campaigns. And this is usually what we've done, which is like you have your direct offer campaigns. So these are, offers that are, these are campaigns that you put a really great offer in front of, and you incentivize people to take action with that offer, which is like pretty cool. But you also have what we call like your educational branding campaigns, and those are more a long-term strategy. And so this has kind of been really interesting because I feel like I have this conversation all the time, like with potential clients or with clients, where it's just kind of like, yes, like I'm like sometimes, I'll talk to people that are not like fully comfortable, like putting out a great offer. And I say, look, man, like it's not that, putting out an offer is it's not the only way to grow a business.
What do you mean when you say offer? You mean like a discount or like a special?
promotion?
A promotion.
Yeah, and it can definitely be a discount. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. It can be a bundle. It can be like some kind of packaging pricing. Like it's just something that, like it's a promotion, right? It's I think the best way that I can like describe it. And that said, you can put out a promotion that's going to get like results fast, right? But at the same time, maybe you don't always want a discount, and that's fine. There is no right or wrong way to grow a business. But I will say, if you want to grow a business fast, then doing a promotion is the best way to go. And so typically what we'll tell clients is like, look, man, you want to have a promotion campaign to help you get accelerated results sooner than later. But at the same time, you want to have those educational campaigns, those branding campaigns, because that's more of a long-term approach that's going to build you up as a local celebrity in your marketplace. And that's really where the magic happens, when you can have both of those things kind of combined together. Because not only are you getting the promotion, people that are like, that 3% of the market that's like actively looking and they're ready to take action, but you're also targeting the 97% of people that like might not be ready right now, but they are interested, they want to learn more, and they need some more education, right?
Right.
And so those branding campaigns are really great. Like they're more educational campaigns because you can put out material content on like, hey, here are the 3 things that you can do to whatever the transformation is, right? And so that's been like one of the strategies that we've implemented. And when you can combine both of those, it's really great. And the branding education is more of like a long-term strategy, because
you may not see the results until years.
Yeah, you're not going to see. I would say like months later. Like,
well, yeah. I think you'll definitely see the results like soon enough. Yeah. But I feel like at least for us, like years later, it's like a lot stronger. Yeah,
it's slow and steady. And so the example that I like to give is the experience that we've had in growing our businesses, because when we first started Everable, it was purely brand based. Like we always kind of believe that like, we don't want to put out an offer. Like we know that we are great at what we do and we are super confident in the results that we can provide for our clients. I'm not going to put out some crazy guarantee or some crazy offer, nothing, because I know that what we're doing is great. And, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and we grew, but I think it took us maybe like 2-3 years to kind of get to I guess I'll say like a 7-figure run rate.
Right.
And it was slow and steady. And even this podcast in itself, like we've been doing this podcast for a really long time. And, obviously part of it is that we want to give back and we want to educate our market, but we're also using it as a platform to kind of extend our brand and potentially, build an audience. But like, I would say it wasn't maybe until a year later that we started getting people like reaching out to us because of the podcast. Right. Yeah. So it's not a long-term, it's not a short-term play, like it's a long-term play.
It's not like we posted one episode and we had all these raving fans.
And so that was Everable, but Engage, we took
a different approach.
Yeah, we took a different approach. And I guess the whole mentality around it was like, we've already did it this one way. We know that we can do that. you know what, let me put my ego aside, because that's really what it was. Like, I kind of just felt like it was kind of like, okay, I'm just going to try it. You know, like there is no right or wrong way to to grow a business. I'm going to I was getting advice from mentors that we should do it this way.
Right.
And we're like, what the hell?
Yeah. No, but also back then, like there wasn't like as much, we didn't really have as much competition. There was no need to be like super flashy that way.
That's true. That's another factor for sure that, comes into play when you're putting out these campaigns.
What are your competitors doing right now?
And so Engage, like we grew to a 7-figure run rate in like 3 months because like we put out a really great promotion, and that was great. Like we scaled really, really fast. And so obviously, there's pros and cons that come with that, right? But we learned a lot, and that was actually a really great experience that I'm happy we had, because it obviously kind of gives us that to kind of share with with our audience. And so just know, Mike, what I like, the way I kind of sum up the story when I'm telling it to clients is that like, just know that like, don't expect, if you're not willing to put out a promotion, like don't expect to be a one-night success. You know what I mean? Like you have to go in knowing that, hey, this is going to be a long-term, this is going to be a long-term thing. I know I'm not maybe going to, like, I might get results in a week, 2 months, but it's not going to be the same kind of results that you could ultimately get if you're doing some time promotion. And that's okay, right? Like we said, like there is no right or wrong way to grow a business. It's just whatever makes sense for you,
right?
At this point in your journey within your business,
right? I think at the end of the day, like it should be something that, again, like going back to this whole episode, my point too is like you need to be thinking of both constantly. Whether one takes priority over the other, it just depends on what you want out of your business and where you're at in your business. So if it's something that, hey, you're barely starting this journey and you need to grow fast, then hey, maybe a promotion.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need to grow fast. Maybe this is like almost like a passion project that you want to grow steadily and create this really strong impact in the long run. Then hey, let's go one way or another. But that doesn't mean that you need to put aside one versus the other.
For sure. Yeah. And like, I mean, I think we always preach that, like you said, you always have to be thinking about both. Right. And so those are definitely some like short-term strategies. What are some other long-term strategies that we could be implementing, to help our clients have growth?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, anything that you can do organically is going to help. So making sure that your internet presence is like full everywhere, right? So social posting on social media is might not bring you money right away, but it is something that in the long term, people will follow you, they will get to know you, to like you, to trust you. Yeah. So whenever they are ready, they will come to you. You will start being that person that they want to go to. Like if they have a certain problem or certain need, they know that you can fix that.
Yeah.
So making sure that you have all of those, anything that you can do, again, on the internet. So posting blogs about the content, becoming like like
content marketing,
anything content marketing, your email marketing, that is something that can go both ways. I feel like it can be a short-term strategy depending on how it's being written, but if it's more educational based, then definitely making sure that those are something that you have recurringly, right?
Kind of like a newsletter where you just kind of educate more versus like a call to action email kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Also SEO, making sure that your website is like SEO friendly. You have like all those, at least the basics of how to help you get on top of those Google searches.
I think also like PPC is another one.
PPCs and going back into like traditional marketing as well.
Yeah.
So anything that is, billboards, any type of publicity, like if you have those opportunities to be like
community outreach stuff too.
Right. Yeah. And those are really good too. Like even like sometimes expos, like, like cities have like these community expos with like either bridal or for Sweet 16s or any special events. Even doing like community or strategic partnerships. those in the long run, like if you have your business in like a certain plaza and you can like talk to everybody that has a business around and kind of like interchange some sort of offer.
I think for sure that's like a huge missed opportunity that like not a lot of people take advantage of, but it's one of the easiest ways to acquire new clients. I mean, I know there's even agencies in the space that kind of specialize in that whole business model. Like their whole strategy is revolving around helping, you know, clients find strategic partners in their local area. And so that's a really great method just because of the fact that like, if you can establish a kind of partnership with someone where they refer their patients your way in exchange for some, commission or some little, benefit that you kind of worked out together with them, well, then that's huge because it's coming off of recommendation. Right. So same thing, because it is kind of like a referral almost, then the likelihood that person gets started on treatment is a lot higher.
Yeah. And we actually have an upcoming episode on how to structure all of that.
So stay tuned.
Yes. Yeah, because that is huge. I mean, it's something so small, quote unquote, that you can do. But
it requires work.
It requires work for sure, but it's just like something that once you put out there, like it's just like an evergreen, Yeah. And it is slow. It's not something that it's going to be right away, but
I think it's even like in the medical field, like for a lot of medical professionals, like, like PTs and stuff like that, like the whole business model is based on like taking these other doctors out to lunch to establish these relationships so that they can refer people out your way, or like, establishing relationships with lawyers, like, you know what I mean? Like, other companies like that. And so, I mean, it's a valid model that really is a great way to acquire patients without having to put money in, which is, really, really nice. Right.
Yeah. So, it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yes. It's a win-win-win. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of covers like a lot of it. I think that the main thing is like, it depends where, I guess just to kind of sum things up, right? It depends on like where you're at within your business and what you need, right? Like if you need immediate results, like you're trying to hit some financial, goal, some like revenue goal. If you're like really in need of, if you're trying to grow like things are tight, or you're really just trying to grow your business as fast as possible. I mean, why not? Right. Like the short-term strategies are definitely things that you can be implementing. And usually it's centered around some kind of promotion, and that's the strategy in itself. And then the tactics that you can like implement that strategy with is like your social media advertising, your email campaigns, text campaigns, event campaigns, right? Those are all ones. And then if you want to take more of a long-term approach, then you focus more on branding, on education. So that could be kind of executed through your content marketing, through your social media marketing, through, your website, your SEO, your blog content, like blogging, right? And then, you can do the community outreach stuff. You can do the kind of like sponsorships. You can do the billboards. You can do the magazines, the TV commercials. All that stuff is really, really great. But I feel like a lot of the times, like if you are tight on cash and you need to get a quick, return off of that, so that then you can later invest some of those funds towards some of the other long-term stuff, then that's how you would go about it, right? Like you focus on the short-term stuff first, get that, cash flow coming in, then that'll kind of give you the freedom to invest some of that revenue into some of these other tactics. And that's how really you can like dominate and take more of this like tactical approach to growth.
Right. And then the other thing to take into consideration is that even in your short-term strategies, like there is always somehow like a long-term strategy in there just to expand, and then to also like squeeze as much as you can of that short-term. So whether, again, going back to at the beginning where we're saying like you might be getting like all these leads that might not be just ready to buy, but making sure that you do have them in like a drip campain. Yeah. Then you can.
What's a drip campaign?
Like a campaign that you are like continuously like making sure that you're being nurturing those people so that, little by little by little.
Yeah. So like multiple touch points that you're having towards those people so that you stay top of mind, you continue to educate and nurture them. And ultimately they do take action. That way they don't forget about you. Right. How do you expect people, like how to take any kind of action with you if you don't remind them that you're there?
Exactly. And that you are the obvious place to go to.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. So next week we're talking about those strategic partnerships. It's going to be huge.
Yes. So stay tuned for next episode.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here today. As always, a pleasure. And talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.